What's up YouTube? Welcome to Jason Bytes Back, episode numero 55. I actually think I said that right. That's a first. Or, that's an uno. If you guys are unfamiliar with Jason Bytes Back, it is this series of which I go through the last 30 days of comments. I read questions, comments, respond to questions, comments, sometimes sarcastically, sometimes truthfully. It's kind of a 50-50 mix. As always, this series is brought to you by my awesome Patreon subscribers, the $5 and $10 of which will be listed at the end of this video. So thank you very much, my Patreon subscribers, for throwing money at me like a cheap hooker. Before I start this off, I do want to say this is the last Jason Bytes Back that will be pre-recorded for the year. That's right. This is the December Jason Bytes Back, and New Year's live stream is right around the corner, which will start technically on New Year's Eve, Central Standard Time at 11 p.m. So if you are willing to watch a very sad person just sitting by himself, drinking alone on the internet, hey, feel free to tune in, 11 CST. I say this every year, but I'm going to try to not get alcohol poisoning. It's a bad thing. But once you just start, it's just hard to stop. But while I'm on that topic, I will here shortly start recording some of the pre-recorded pop-ups that you get that I did last year and the year before that. It's like the custom pop-ups like, no donation is, yeah. I'm going to try not to make it as annoying and put some different parameters on it. But if you guys have any ideas, anything you want to see for certain increments of donation super chats, let me know in the comments down below. So strap your butts to the chair and let's jump right into the first question and or comment from Marcus. He asked, why add another device to the equation and not just buy a TV with Plex built in? Been using my Vizio TV for years with no issues. Who wants to read a movie? That's the subtitle reference. You only talked about the plug and play clients and never talk about the option that are built into the TV. Well, Marcus, that is actually a very valid point. What that really stems to is that most of my TVs in my house are super old. I don't really recycle, go through a lot of TVs. Most of my TVs are 1080p. I only have one 4K. And that's really just what it is. I have old TVs that while they do have technically, smart applications, they just don't run very quickly with the with the Plex app that you can download via the smart browser. Now, I'm sure that whenever I get a new TV, like I do want a big old upgraded 4K TV downstairs and my home theater system set up, I'm sure that I will at least try that out. But to go through and test each single one and judge every brand and every model on the performance of the, built-in capabilities of said TV, that would just not really be a feasible thing for me. However, I will say that when I do get a new TV, it has smart features built in that I can download the app and see how the Plex runs natively on it, see if it's super sluggish, which is what my experience has been in the past. I will make sure to make a video. Still a valid point, just kind of difficult on the small scale that my channel is. Next question is from Ozlux. He or she says, I love that you decided to zip tie your gate instead of moving the entire thing a meter to the side. I understand where you're coming from. The reason why I decided to zip tie my gate closed is location, location, location. So the sun, as it hits, it peeks over my roof. I have a chimney, I have a tree, and things just kind of just flow in a certain direction. So if I would have moved it way far over to the left, bear in mind, this is literally just a temporary testing solar setup thing just to review these solar panels. If I would have moved it more to the left, I would have caught more tree and more chimney shadows. And if I would have moved it more to the right, then I would have caught more attention from the neighbors. So this was a very strategic placement to try to get as much testing as I can with the solar panels to avoid the Karens that might be like, oh, you're obstructing the view, that sort of thing. Thankfully, I haven't actually got a complaint yet. I think most of my neighbors are not really legit Karens, but there is an HOA enforcement truck that drives by every freaking week. So the more in line it is with the street, the easier it is for he or she to be able to see it and send me a notice and say, you can't do that, it's ugly. So I put it in the middle of the fence. The gate happened to be there. And really, it's a garbage fence anyways. It's a long story behind it, but it needs ripped out and replaced with a full backyard fence instead of just the one fence section in the backyard. Next question is from Purebred Aussie. Says, no, everything should go through the shunt. Everything, period. Do not connect anything directly to the battery. Okay, well, I mean, technically, based off what you said, you have to connect the shunt directly to the battery. So just kidding, just kidding. Yes, you're right. I have been learning as I go, and I got this inverter, then I started building my solar setup and kind of wiring things, and then I was adding things, and like there was a series of events where it's like I'm waiting on different parts from Amazon, waiting this, deciding to add that. Literally, I just set up this whole thing, and by the time I got to a point where I was like satisfied with the setup to start running the test and collecting data and things like that, I stepped back and said, wow, all of this is wrong. The parts are there, but it needs rewired. And I have since then rewired it. I took all of them down, or all the stuff down, and rewired it. I got the batteries going on a negative side, going to the shunt, going to the block, the distribution block, which then goes to the inverter, the DC converter, and everything else. And then on the other side, I got the fuse that connects directly to the battery. The fuse goes to the block, etc. So I've went through and redone the wiring, and it has been a learning thing. But it was also more of a parts thing. It's like, this is what I have available right now. So you're absolutely right. And having a shunt, especially because it's a Victron and I can connect it online and I can kind of see what's going on with my batteries with an app or just anywhere in the world, it's really kind of cool. I even like installed this monitor in my computer room that's wired to a Raspberry Pi that monitors everything. And that's kind of cool. I don't know. This whole solar adventure is just stimulating. Stimulating. I want to use the word moist because next question is from Nathan P. This Plex server is embarrassing. Have you thought of ripping the guts out of Zeus and rebuilding it? You can get rid of those NAS units then? ? Well, no. I mean, yeah. Well, not really. Nathan P., here's the thing. Zeus, super outdated, right? I could rip out the guts, probably rebuild it, do some things with it if I wanted to, but I just haven't really had any kind of motivation to go down that path. Instead, I rebuilt a new server, the Loki build, where I powder coated and kind of did that because it held more hard drives. Realistically, I could rebuild Zeus, add some better hardware to it, make use of all the drive bays, but I don't know. I don't know if I really want to. Not yet, anyway. At the moment, Zeus is literally just sitting on the ground doing absolutely nothing. It probably needs to be sold. I said I wanted to sell it, and I think I had one person that said they'd buy it or something, but I never followed up on it. And it's really, I don't know. I really should probably just sell it instead of just storing it. But if you've seen the videos of me building it, I built like this custom wall with, Noctua fans. It's not pretty, so it's hard for me to stomach selling that because I know it's not stock because I messed with it. So, I mean, it works. It's kind of like a convoluted thing. But in the end of the day, it's still sitting on the ground, and maybe one day I'll get a wild hair up my buttocks and rebuild it with something new and will not replace my Synology NASs because I do like my Synology NAS. The software, the backups, all that other stuff, just kind of nice. Not gonna lie. It's nice having a balance, pre-built, home-built, whatever. Like, it's nice just mixing it up. And next question is from Sean. 3 days. This is about the solar again. It says, as a hobby, you will have fun, learn a lot, and spend way more money than you will ever save. It's probably true. Honestly, I have the t-shirt. That t-shirt that is on, I'm going to remove that. That thing sucks. Don't buy it. Otherwise, cut your losses. Get proper full house solar and Powerwall or other non-lead acid house sized battery. Sun chargers battery. Battery is a big UPS for the house. Problem solved. That's the goal, Sean, is to use battery, solar, etc. to make my house run itself and hopefully last through at least half the night before having to switch to grid power. that's going to be expensive. Batteries are freaking through the roof right now, and they're just expensive anyways. And, you know, I got this testing set up. Right now I have it sufficiently powering a laptop with a 2070 Super that's mining cryptocurrency. So I am technically able to sustain that during most days. Not as big of a scale as I would have hoped, especially in $900 worth of batteries that can only last like 5 hours. But, you know, eventually I'm gonna scale up. At the moment, I'm at a point in my life, which, you know, the future X is watching, but I'm at a point in my life where I gotta just, you know, kind of cut back quite a bit on spending money. So I got it to where I can get it tested, data collected, etc. But the end game goal is to use eventually very little grid power, just very little. Next question is from Patrick Joseph. He says, "This is the jankiest shit I have ever seen." I can't disagree with that. I agree. I take pride in my jank. Okay? That's it. Jankiest shit he has ever seen. It's almost an accomplishment. Next question and or comment is from Kenneth. He says, "Hey Jason, do you need to add all 4 WD Red Pro 16 terabyte drives to the NAS DS920 Plus all at the same time, or can you start with one drive and then add them other 3 at a later time?" Kenneth, when it comes to the Synology, I don't know if they've made an update where you can expand. Maybe you can, but as far as I know, when you're rebuilding, because the way it's set up, or building your RAID, I think you just have to add them all at the same time, because it builds your RAID 5 or whatever you choose, and it builds everything at the same time. As far as I know, and I have not looked into this, they have not added an option to expand an existing array built in with the RAID 5 and all that yet. I could be completely wrong. It's been a while. It's one of those things I just kind of like set up, add all the drives at once, and never look back. If I were you, I would just add them all at the same time. Next question or comment is from Christian Viola. He says, "How about Plex versus Emby 2021? Well, it's at the end of 2021. December now. So I do not see Plex versus Emby in 2021. That's probably not going to be a thing. However, if there is enough demand, maybe early 2022, I will consider a Plex versus Emby showdown. Maybe talk about some transcoding, compatibility, codecs, like loading times, all kinds of things. Let me know in the comments down below what things you would like compared directly between Plex and Emby, if that's even something you want. Maybe everyone just likes Plex and nobody even cares about Emby. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Next question and or comment is from CommandShift. He says, "I feel like Sense would have been a better way of doing it. It doesn't require all of those adapters, just the 2 power clamps. And after a while, it can adapt and detect what kinds of devices are drawing power and how much. It's actually real crazy how it works." CommandShift, I've seen the Sense, so I've seen parts of what the Sense does and an explanation of basically how it identifies things in your power grid and like says, okay, well, this came on, it used this certain amount of power, identify what it is, or we think it's this, confirm that's what it is. Your dryer, for example, your stove, your computer, etc. That's been interesting. You kind of have to power things on and off a couple times for it to just learn things. And that is intriguing, to say the least. So moving on down the line, at some point, I might actually get a Sense and run it concurrently with the Emporia thing that I have, just to kind of compare the two and see, you know, what they're saying. So the one where you have the Emporia one that you have to add all those sensors, it was kind of a pain in the butt. It's a lot of wires. It's kind of a cluster F in there, if you know what I mean. So I'm not opposed to trying out Sense. I'm going to be honest. It seems intriguing to me. Next question is from Mr. Brett Hoogie. Mr. Brett Hoogie. He says, "As an electrician, this hurts me on so many levels. Not that I'm saying you did a bad job. You did what you could, but code rules in Canada are being broken with this. Cool though, and I love for this to become a thing, and I think the product could use improvement, but please hire someone who knows what they're doing in a panel. Dangerous shit. Well, Brett, you say rules were broken. I would love to hear you and other people, like, exactly the things that I did wrong according to the code that could be fixed. Like, please let me know. If there are things that I can go through and just easily like change, like maybe I didn't drop this wire over here or do this or stuff like that, like let me know. I mean, obviously the entire thing can't be a code violation. I don't think so. But if you want to look at my local codes, Sedgwick County in Kansas, that's the local electrical code. So I know every state or county or whatever has kind of their own little thing. But let me know. I'm not in Canada, but I'd be interested to see what code violations I have. I know, because I don't know that much about code, that I broke some. But just saying, hey, you did it wrong, that doesn't contribute anything. At that point, you're just a keyboard warrior just throwing hate for no reason. So I hope that's not your intention. So if you have advice or things that should change to fix it, to make it safer, let me know. Next question is from Matthew Goy. This is pure madness. When you're messing around with the servers and Plex and stuff like that, I can learn from you and have some fun because you know what you are talking about. And the worst thing that can happen for you, or for me that follows your lead, is frying a CPU or losing some data. Not a big deal. That is what I like. Okay, first mistake, assuming I know what I'm doing. Terrible idea. Follows up with messing around with high voltage is plain stupid. I don't have fun because it's freaking dangerous, and I don't learn anything because you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, mate. By G thumb down here. By G thumb down. Big thumb. I got you. Yeah. Well, Matthew, I'm sorry. There's different personality types for everybody out there. There's some people that say, I don't know how to do something, therefore I don't want to try. There's some people that say, I don't know how to do something, so I'm going to do it until I fail and then hopefully learn and then figure it out. And now I kind of sort of know how to do something. And then there's people that are like, I don't know how to do something. I'm going to pay somebody to teach me how to do it. So hopefully I can do it correctly. I follow more along the lines of YOLO, let's figure this out. I don't want to be scared of stuff. If you have limitations, sometimes you just have to try them out. That's just what it is. Take music, for example. I have legitimately sat down for hours trying to make my own like beats or intro jingles or whatever. And you know what I realized? I completely suck at it. After hours of watching videos and trying it and just trying to dabble into it, I lack the capacity to make music on any level, even if it's like for an intro. I just suck. No talent whatsoever. But I can say I tried. So I respect you for having the respect for the high voltage stuff I'm playing with and knowing that you probably don't want to mess with it. But that's just a different personality type. Maybe you're scared of it and you don't want to try to learn new things, your own way. That's fine. I'm not judging you for that. But me, hold my beer. Next question or comment is from Darren. No, you don't need batteries behind batteries. If your inverter battery switches, blah, 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 blah. Okay, gist of it is, I made a comment that said, I need a UPS behind my inverter that's backed up or powered by batteries. That was a comment specifically on that inverter, which is going to be here very soon in December on my review with the Sun Gold power inverter that I installed. Basically, the switch time on that thing is, God, I don't know, half a second, 40 milliseconds, something like that. I have no idea, but it's long enough to make a computer shut down and power cycle. So I don't know if that goes back to like a quality, a capacitor, a switch, automatic transfer switch, things like that. I know that there's more to that, but you're right. A higher quality something is going to be able to handle that power transfer so fast that it will not power down a computer. I have plenty of UPSs that do that. This inverter just doesn't. So maybe down the line, that's going to be a high focus. Like you mentioned, 20 millisecond. There's Victron. Did you mention? Okay, well, there's Victron inverters, ones that would tie in really good with the system that I'm using to monitor my entire system remotely, that claim to have like a 20 millisecond flip time, which is fast enough for a computer to not get power cycled. So later on down the line, knowing what I know now, that is definitely going to be a focus. Although I can say having more batteries back up other batteries is not necessarily a terrible thing. Next question and or comment, and the last question and or comment is from Maxter. He says, is that PoE Switch still alive? Yes, it is. If you guys are not familiar, about 2 or 3 years ago, I put a PoE Switch in my attic so I could run PoE security cameras around my house. It's worked flawlessly. I bought a USB laptop cooler to have some fans underneath it. Hasn't skipped a beat. Never went out, never had a problem. I think one time I had to restart it when I had a power loss and some light flickerings and some things went weird and I had to remove the power and just manually reboot it. But other than that, has not missed a beat. It's been through brutally cold winters and brutally hot summers. Never once has it failed. I still want to swap it out for some Unify Flexes, but it's just so hard when you know it works really well. It's crazy. I even ran, the power line to power that. I don't know. The entire thing was kind of jank. I get that, but it still works. It has been the backbone of of my security cameras. So, hey, go me. Well, guys, that is it for today. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to post them in the comments section in this video. I usually try to check this first for any kind of good questions or comments that I want to read in next month's Jason Bytes Back. Again, $5 and $10 baller Patreon subscribers are listed at the end of this video because you guys are crazy enough to give me money every month to watch the shenanigans that I get into, even though the last month or two has been solely focused on solar and power and batteries and just doing really dumb things with high voltage electricity. Thank you for following my shenanigans, everybody, Patreon or not. So like and subscribe and have yourself a great day. Speaking of battery and power, I have finally gotten to the point. I can't say that. This has happened before, but this was sent to me a while ago. And I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. It's just another power bank, right? I got plenty of these. I got like 10 of them. And I was like, I'll check it out. But then I got so intertwined with solar installations and actual solar panels and real batteries and all that kind of thing. Like this is gonna be high on the list. I have to address this. I'm gonna start this probably this weekend or maybe even tomorrow. I guess you can say these get less exciting, not that they don't have the usage, like the portable on the go. I mean, you're not gonna take your full-on home system on the go. So they definitely have the usages, but it's just less exciting, I think, to get into something like this when your end game goal is to power your house, and this is more like for camping. So this is going to be a thing. This is 1,000 watts. I don't know much anything else with it. Let's read it off. 1,100 watts. Yeah, 1,100 watts with 992 watt hours. So, I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be next on the list. That's where I'm at this point. These batteries, they were fun, but I feel like I've evolved. And now I need more batteries. I can't afford to purchase new batteries anytime soon, but I just need batteries that I can hook up to my solar thing. That's pretty much the new thing. Batteries and solar panels. Yeah. I'm gonna hold out a sign on like a homeless person, be like, we'll work for batteries. And by work, I mean not anything labor intensive. Wait, never mind. Okay, yeah.